fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of talent, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother. The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Pat Riley.
I'm Mr. Good Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And welcome to part 2 of our first ever two-parter.
Yeah, it is. And it's very weird that we reserved our two-parter for this and not the Elvis episode, not the North Korea episode, not any of those
This is
other
like
ones.
the old days when, a movie would be on TV and be like, Patton, Part 1, The Godfather 2, Part 1.
Yeah, which they
God.
just like, oh, the tape's laying around.
Well, if the movie was really long and they want to rip it up for a bunch of commercials, you just show it over the course of 2
That's
nights.
Yeah. Speaking of Patton, by the way, before we get going, I just wanted to say a couple things about
Just say, if you stick your hand in a bunch of goo that won't before your best friend's
You
face,
stick
you
your
know what to
friend's
do.
We're talking
face.
about Pat on a office chair right here.
Well,
Still drinking red wine.
it's been a whole week. I've been drinking red wine for
Drinking
a week
red
straight.
wine. Just surviving on red wine.
I've been slapping the bag for 7 days, Daddy.
Long as you pair it properly.
Have you ever slapped the bag?
Fuck yes, I have. What am I
Well, who
not?
hasn't, man? But
am
that's
I
not really a
not?
topic for the radio.
Am
the
I
ladies
not a
might
man?
be listening.
I remember one time we did slap the bag at a party.
You've never felt sleazier than when you're drinking out of a bag of wine.
Oh, that's what y'all are talking
Yeah,
about.
so slap the bag if you're listening and you don't
I
know.
thought this was a metaphor for something else.
No. You take the box of Franzia, you rip open the top, and you pull the.
But if you want to do the whole suite of Franzia flavors, that's called Tour de Franzia. And we did that one time when
Gross.
we were watching. We watched Tour de France on cable. And we did Tour de Franzia.
Tour de Franzia.
Yeah, and we were listening to Tour de France by Kraftwerk. But yeah,
Well, that's everything lined up as one consistent thing.
Yeah. But Tour de Franzia, slap the bag, you take it out. The Franzia is in a box, but if you undo the box, there is a bag.
There's a bladder of wine.
It's a
bladder of sweet
It's
barrel wine.
essentially- Yeah, it's a bladder.
Yeah.
If you do a thing, you can set it up where you can have somebody hold it, and then you do kind of like a keg stand with it,
Right.
and then you get 2 people to slap the bag so that it comes out
it comes out faster and knocks the air.
faster.
Okay, y'all are talking about wine bladder now, not something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and when we did, I did remember doing it one time, and we were instead of spill the wine, we were drinking slap the bag. Slap the bag, that girl. Drink the wine.
It's hard to do that when nobody knows what any of the words are.
Slap the bag.
Because he goes slap the bag and then drink the wine. Yeah. And then I took a bottle of Lifro Milch.
And I got crazy.
No, I brought up the General George S. Patton because I think you'll appreciate this. I'm sure you've probably maybe seen this out at the Chiriaco Cliffs, which is in the middle of the desert. They have the George S. Patton Memorial Museum, and you can see they have a bunch of tanks parked out in the desert.
I
and
like
stuff.
this already.
It's pretty sweet. And I went with our friend of the show, Joe Raines. We went out to the Patton Museum, and then we made our way to Phoenix, and then we had a little day trip during the day before our show. By the way, shout out to Kevin Collier and all the people at Comedy Off Main Street. We did get to go to the Waffle House, which was the shit. And,
It's the furthest west Waffle House.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
And it's a good one.
It's a very good one. Yeah, so we got to go to the Waffle House, but we had a little day trip. We went out to Tucson, and Tucson, of course, is surrounded on both sides by the giants. Saguaro National Park. Biggest cactuses on Earth. There's a Western Park.
Killer cacti.
There's a Western Park and there's an Eastern Park, and they're both on either side of Tucson. And we haven't done it in a minute, but I thought of a great addition to the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame. So I wanted to induct someone real quick.
Okay, the hall is still operational,
The
right?
hall's still operational,
yeah, we
but
just haven't,
we've been lazy about it. I did.
Well, it was getting really crowded for a while.
I had somebody in mind, so we could just wait a little bit for that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
this one will be fairly quick. So when we were out there, the cactuses are on nationally protected land because they are a wonder of nature. If you've never seen a saguaro cactus, it is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. It's,
is that the real big cactuses?
Yeah.
Like the one outside the Hilltop Steakhouse that used to be on Danvers or whatever?
Right. So like when you think of like a Bugs Bunny cactus with like, the giant central stalk and then usually 2 or 3 kind of arms that almost looks like a person with their arms raised up.
Yeah.
That is a saguaro cactus. And to see one in real life, which I had seen, I guess, from the road driving, but had never like driven up to, Saguaro National Park is absolutely beautiful. And you can drive around this big loop called the Cactus Forest Trail. And there's the Bajada Loop on the other side. And both of them are just stunning. But they are federally protected because they don't start growing their kind of classic arms until about 100 years it takes.
Damn, no arms for 100 years.
Yeah.
How do they
And
masturbate?
if you don't know what a saguaro cactus looks like, the way its arms grow out is like it grows out in this kind of cornholio fashion.
Yeah. It was
They need teepee for their bunghole.
They do.
They're from Lake Titicaca originally, I think.
That's right. But so the saguaro cactus, most of them, the ones that get up to be 50 feet tall, some of them, and the ones that are 50 feet tall are usually between 1 and 200 years old. So they take forever to grow, is my point. And there's miscreants in Arizona that participate in an activity. Sometimes it's called cactus plugging, and cactus plugging is when you go out in the desert with a shotgun and shoot at the cactus.
Oh, God.
Oh, can I go out there and do this? Because this sounds awesome.
Well,
Good night. Don't do that.
No.
It sounds like fun.
There's plenty of lesser cactuses out there.
Okay, I'll shoot those.
Like, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
there's like road signs.
yeah, there's
all right?
road
Well, I'm
signs.
big into shooting road signs.
Like Arizona has a lot of dumb stuff you can shoot.
I think I need to move there.
As opposed to protected things.
as opposed to
They're shooting at stuff you ain't supposed to shoot at.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They're going
don't
out.
shoot at protected things,
Yeah.
folks.
You can shoot at cans. You
Yeah,
can
there's
shoot
cans. There's
Garbage, other cacti.
Yeah. So I just wanted to read this. Cactus plugging, a highly illegal but still common practice of pumping a cactus body full of lead by armed and drunken marauders, usually results in a dead cactus. But in February of 1982, David Grundman arrived with his shotgun in Saguaro National Park for a bit of merriment, but left in a hearse.
Yeah.
Though
The cacti came to life like them trees in Lord of the Rings.
Though this incident sounds like an urban legend, especially after the Austin Lounge Lizards immortalized it in their song Saguaro, it really happened. Apparently, David Grundman blasted most of the way through the trunk of a 125-year-old, 27-foot-tall cactus, but it refused to fall. So to speed things along, he took a saguaro rib, which is the sides of the cactus from a dead plant, so basically a big stick from a dead cactus, and poked at one of the giant arms. The arm weighed about 500 pounds, and it detached and fell on David Grundman. As soon as he fell, the shifting weight of the arm, so that didn't kill him, but the shifting weight of the arm caused the rest of the cactus, which he had been shooting, to fall directly on him and kill him. And so,
How much do these damn things weigh?
A lot.
so just one of the arms is 500 pounds.
Holy.
Yeah.
The central stalk can be up to a ton.
And
I was gonna say
I've
a
sat
ton
on
or
one of
two,
them
yeah.
cactus things like a cartoon, and they hurt.
Oh my God. Yeah. So anyway, so it fell directly on top of him. And as the Austin Lounge Lizards told us, it squashed him like a bug. And if you've never heard this song, by the way, when I was a child, my dad is a sucker for comedy records. And
So is your dad a big Ray Stevens fan?
no, not Ray Stevens
Well,
necessarily.
he worked
but
heel a lot, you know.
yeah, well, especially now. But no, the record that we would listen to a lot was called Creatures from the Black Saloon, and it was this band, the Austin Lounge Lizards. And when I was going to...
Quite a name for a record. I got to give him credit on that.
And the other one is called the Highway Cafe of the Damned. So you can check those out. The Austin Lounge Lizards are badass, but... the person I'm putting in the Hall of Fame, by the way, it ain't fucking David Grundman.
Yeah.
It is the goddamn saguaro cactus.
Yeah. And if you're into cactus plugging, I got a problem with you.
Yeah.
And if you got a problem with me, let me tell you something. Feel free to, because I'm a martial arts expert. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
So
one
say
issue.
it to my face.
One issue here, though. We can induct plants into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to put marijuana in there, you can.
That would be gauche.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting a great pumpkin in,
Yeah,
maybe.
we can put plants, protozoans.
What if God might be a plant? Have you ever thought about that one?
Nidarians? Yeah. I love that.
It's true. You never think about that. People think he's an animal, but no. What if God was a plant?
So anyway, this one's for you, Cactus that killed David
Yeah.
Grunman. You're going in the Hall of Fame this week.
Yeah.
And big ups to Arizona. You guys fucking rule.
Billy Graham, the superstar, is from Arizona.
Yeah, the ultimate Billy.
Yeah, the ultimate Billy. So.
And-
As per last week.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
for last week.
Speaking of the ultimate, this week we move on from the ultimate Billy,
Yeah, the ultimate guy
the
named
ultimate
Billy,
guy named Billy.
to the ultimate woman named blank.
Yes.
So we are having a tournament.
So if somehow you missed last week,
Listen to it, and you'll subscribe and give us 5 stars and all that sort of thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a tournament of the most awesome woman named, and we're going to draw names out of a hat. So we each have 3 cards. We're each going to volunteer 3 names. And as I said before, if we were to put Ellie in there as a name, Eleanor Roosevelt would not count because she is not well known as Ellie, right? She would be in the Eleanor tournament.
but Dr. Ellie Sattler, Laura Dern's character from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, or Miss Ellie when Ellerda Donahue was on the early episodes of the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, so the fictional characters count. If we can say that enough people would know somebody as a given name, then it would be fine, right? So like Dorothy Day, for example, was known by Dot by certain people. If we had a Dot tournament,
Little Dot from Harvey Comics.
yeah, she would qualify for it. So it's a kind of a sort of thing where if you are known by a certain name by a decent number of people, you would qualify in this tournament.
Okay, one aspect about rules.
Yeah.
Can we do a ban on one thing? And that's mama's names.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
any of a Gail, anybody's mama's name,
Yeah.
and if y'all listeners out there, if one of these names
Yeah.
is your mama's name, obviously your mama, is going to beat everybody up on there, and our mamas are going to beat
So if
everybody.
we-
We're
if
not
we-
counting our mamas.
Yeah.
So if we put Mean Gene in this tournament, that's not going to fly.
No Cathys.
No
Yeah.
Cathy's.
Or it doesn't. That one doesn't count. Well, that Kathy. I love that strip. You know why she cannot find a man? Because she don't got a nose, and everybody else in that strip has a goddamn nose.
Yeah.
But Kathy has no goddamn nose. Like, she doesn't matter how many jobs she have. She ain't got no damn nose.
Yeah.
Nor did she have ears until like 1988 or something when she changed her hairstyle.
Oh shit. Okay.
But I digress.
But wait, so yeah, and like you were saying though, Kathy is the name, but Catherine.
Yeah, so
Could
you
go
have
in,
to be
right?
known as Kathy. Now, that's very tough, right? So maybe, hypothetically, Catherine the Great was known as Kathy within her close
I don't like
circles.
her in a way, man.
Yeah,
because
but
she
it's
was
just-
bad
so-
to the Polish and these people.
And,
Yeah,
and
so
the
it's-
horses.
So we
Yeah,
have-
no, well,
we have
maybe they liked it. Who knows?
So the thing is that we have to. There has to be some sort of critical mass.
Sport of
that
kings and queens,
knows
apparently.
that somebody was called a certain name, right? So if we went for a Cecilia tournament, by the way, or Cecile, I'm not sure what.
Or we wouldn't count like my friend Cecilia Hart.
Yeah, but we also probably would not count Lady Bird Johnson,
Okay.
right? So that's.
Oh, her real name was Cecilia.
I think it was.
See, I didn't even know that.
Okay, so if we had a
Cecile or-
Ladybird
yeah.
contest, it'd be pretty much Ladybird Johnson and the dog on King of the Hill.
So we are going to pick some names out, and then we are going to roll with it. And what song do we have lined up? Rivers.
Oh, so this is going to be the Austin Lounge Lizards with "Get a Haircut, Dad."
Okay. Fair enough.
Can I borrow the car keep up? You sure attends all the money you got. Does your truck still smell like grass, Dad? How long you gonna live in the past? Get a haircut, Dad. Get a haircut, Dad. Make it your next stop down at the barber shop. Get a haircut, Dad. Get a haircut, Dad. Come on, enough is enough. Whoa, Dad, grow up.
And we're back. Were you just on a fishing trip with Bob Langley in 1995? Because that's where that took
Yeah.
me. So you listen to that tape over and over. And now we've got a hat.
Yeah, my dad. If it was a fishing trip with Pat Riley, Junior, Senior, it would be Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, or Leonard Skinner's Greatest Hits. You know?
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess my dad had the Hair soundtrack. I guess every dude.
Yeah. No, every dad has one
musical that
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
I used to listen to that too. I
He
used
had
to love that
Tommy too, but that doesn't really count.
Nah.
Anyway, so we got 9 names in the hat. We're mixing them up, and then we are going to decide which name we're going to go off of. And I previewed a couple of them, and they are some.
They're good names.
Some good names with some great competition in there. So, all right, we'll do this one right here. Set it aside.
Okay.
All right. So, what names didn't get picked? Well, these are the themes that would not be ones for this episode. Pam. Pam is not in the
Pam.
Pam Grier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pammy the penguin from the little koala.
Tina. Tina's not in the mix. So no Tina Turner.
Yeah, Tina Turner, Tina Louise.
Yeah.
Tina Fey.
Yeah. Molly.
Ooh.
Molly Pitcher, Molly Hatchet.
Molly Hatchet is dudes, though, right?
Laura. So no Laura's.
No, Laura from the little koala again, or
I was thinking Laura Dern was where my mind went.
Sarah.
Oh.
No
Sarah
Sarah's.
Smile. No, Sarah
Sarah
Caillou's
Silverman's-
little neighbor. Sarah Bob Dylan's wife.
Yeah. Mary.
The number one women's name.
Yeah.
It used to be if you were Italian girl, you went by your middle name because your first name was always Mary.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. No Grace.
Oh.
No Grace Jones.
No,
Grace Kelly.
no
Grace Under Fire.
no every Morris Day. Listen, Grace.
So what else is not in here? Kim.
It's hard to think of a lot of famous Kims.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's Kim Deal, there's Kim Gordon, there's Kim Kleisters,
Little Kim.
Little
I
Kim.
don't think anybody remembers Kim Richards
Kim
anymore.
Kardashian.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So we now know what it's not going to be, but we have selected one name for your little drum roll.
Patti.
Patti.
We're looking at a battle of the Patties.
It's such a funny visual image. I'm just thinking of burgers punching each other.
But yeah, so we're going to select 9 Patties. So it's going to be people that go by Patty as opposed to Patricia.
Right. Yeah.
Or Pat, so no Pat Richards or anything like that.
Pat
This
Nixon.
is a battle of the Patties. So we are going to play a little Austin Lounge Lizards.
Yeah.
Indeed. Because we're continuing this fishing trip with Rivers' dad, and
Yeah.
we are going to have 9 Patties that are going to battle it out to see who the ultimate Patty is.
Yeah.
So
this is when drunks go bad.
He only stops in sometimes. He only has one beer. I remember when he used to spend his every evening here. Now when he gets up to go home, he acts just like he's glad. Oh, it's not a very pretty sight when drunks go bad. When drunks go bad, it reflects upon us all. While we shuffle on the dance floor underneath the mirrored ball. When drunks go bad, it's a low-down crying shame. When he discovered virtue, he gave vice a dirty name. When he discovered virtue, he gave vice a dirty name.
my grandfather would only allow one person to call him Patty, and it was a woman by the name of Bunny Iciafano.
You know what?
We should have done the best bunnies, I think. in
Bunnies,
this
dude.
That's a good name.
Man, I gotta say, it took me actually going to fucking Ireland before I put together that Patty is short for Patrick.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot. Like,
Yeah.
it was always weird to me.
I was almost named Padraig.
Because your dad didn't want you to have any friends.
Yeah. Well, it would have been Patti with like.
Pedreg.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Pedreg. Please
Yeah,
let
well,
what
it
is
would've
that?
been- No, it's Patrick basically, but it's spelled Gaelically, so it would have been Patrick.
Yeah, but then
but
you
it's
have to
like-
explain that to people
Yeah,
as they're
yeah.
dipping your head in the toilet.
Nobody's dipping mine. Coming from a former homecoming king.
It's Gaelic.
Himself. Nobody's
Well,
trying-
that's true because Rivers. To be fair, somebody whose name is a plural noun should not be making fun of other people.
Yeah, but at least I'm not risky.
I'm royalty, dude. I'm royalty.
I'm Peg Leg Riley or whatever you
Yeah.
said. Yeah, but no, I went to Ireland and there's a million bars called Patti this and Patti that, and then I
That's
just
a name for all the Irish, but they spell it with the D's. You understand?
well, that's what I
double
mean,
D.
and I
Yeah.
did not put that together. I was like, did the
because it's PADRAIG.
right,
Yeah.
but I didn't put any of that together. I actually had to go to fucking Ireland before I realized that. So I'm
Well,
just
I
saying,
lived that
I'm
life.
a dummy.
So we're
I'm a
drawing
big
the names
dummy.
out.
Patio Furniture. He's a famous guy from Ireland.
So our first matchup, we have Patti Duke.
Oh yeah,
Patti Duke.
Hilarious.
hilarious and beautiful too. When she was young, won an Oscar as a teenager.
She did, yeah.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
And her career kind of peaked with that too. But
And she's facing off against Patti Mayonnaise from the show Doug.
Oh, this is gonna be a
fictional cartoon
It's gonna be
character.
a hard one for you, Mr. Goodnight.
Hey, y'all.
It's always a hard
Her
one
voice
for
was
me,
like- it
but
was
I
like-
should go to a doctor
I was-
about that.
Well, Patti is the sugar in my tea.
And she fucking funny. But let's face this. All right, point we gonna make about Patti
I gotta
Mayonnaise.
finish the rest of them.
Oh, okay, we'll get back to that when Patti Mayonnaise
Yeah.
come up.
The next matchup, we have Patti Hearst.
The hell yeah.
She was almost actually abducted from this contest, but
Yeah.
it turns out
It turns out
that was
she-
a hoax.
Turns out she was really into the contest.
Yeah.
She-
She's really. She's going up against Patti Smyth from the band Scandal. Goodbye to you.
Yeah, exactly. Goodbye to you,
warrior.
Patty Hearst, because she just might be a warrior
On the other side of the bracket, Peppermint Patty
from Peanuts.
From Peanuts,
Peanuts,
okay.
yeah.
The second fictional child.
going up against Tin Pan Alley.
Oh, Patty Page.
Patty Page.
Patty Page, how much is that doggy in the window?
Yes.
Woof,
Dude,
woof.
that dog is for sale.
Kind of share like a time period a little bit there with Peanuts. Sort of
Yeah, it
sort
really
of a
does.
more innocent time.
I agree.
Patti LaBelle.
Okay, that's
Patti LaBelle.
Patti LaBelle.
She
And
can
the
ring my
play-in
bell any day.
matchup is going to be Senator Patty Murray of Washington State, the
Okay.
senior senator of Washington State, against Patti Smith, and that's a doozy. That's our
That's
play-in
from
match-
television.
No, well, Patti Smith of recorded horses, poet, rock. You know,
And she wasn't
Because
with the
the
band.
night.
icon. Yeah,
She wasn't with the band television.
well, she was wrapped up in. So we start with
It'd be a similar
the play-in.
scene, yeah.
Yeah, she was in the CBGB scene.
Yeah.
So she lived with Robert Mapplethorpe,
The photographer.
the photographer.
Yep.
Yeah, and she was a poet, and she got involved in CBGBs and was. Poet that would do, and she had a fantastic like backing band, like Lenny Kaye that did Nuggets and Horses. That album
Fucking owns.
rules.
Yeah. So that was the time period where Bruce Springsteen was doing the record that would eventually become Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Yeah.
And was writing so many songs that he had basically whenever they talked to Little Steven about this time period, he was just like, yeah, Bruce kept giving away all the good fucking songs.
Little Steven or Miami Steve or whatever. I guess he's Miami Steve when he does cocaine. But like he was,
That's his
like
Carlos
he'd be like, oh,
Danger.
he's giving away all the good songs and stuff like that. But it's like she probably wrote that most of that song.
Well,
I'm
she wrote.
sorry.
Well, you can listen
And
to it.
by the
then-
way, Bruce Springsteen. I know she married Fred Sonic Smith of MC5, who is awesome, but I always like to imagine Patti Smith and Bruce Springsteen as a couple, and boy, that would be a handsome couple. That would be a beautiful, beautiful couple.
yeah, muscular children.
I don't think she made the cut, but the
Great
boss,
bone structure.
Yeah, very bony, muscular
well,
kids.
the boss is married to a Patty. Did
Patty
she make the
Scialfa,
cut?
yeah.
Yeah,
No, she
that's
did
right.
not. But
Patty Scialfa, alias the real boss.
yeah, but Patti Smith is absolutely talented. I mean, she's just a fantastic writer, and if anybody has not listened to the album Horses, listen to it. It's an amazing album. It's really just the best. It's really, really something. And it has one of the best album covers ever. I mean, because, it's like Robert Mapplethorpe took the photo of it, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So what's on the cover?
It's just her.
That's what I'm saying. What the fuck?
No, it's just her. It's a photo of her.
Is she in a jar of piss or something?
No, that's Andre Serrano.
Robert Mapplethorpe is just a cavalcade of penises. That's pretty much his.
So was that on the cover too?
No.
No, but that was a band in the CBGB scene. Was
What, cavalcade of penises?
Yeah, it was Talking Heads, Ramones, cavalcade of penises.
Yeah, but Patti Smith, I'm a big fan of hers. Going up against Patti Murray.
I don't know nothing about her.
She's the longest serving female senator.
From where?
Washington. The thing about Patti Murray that's cool is that she didn't go into the Senate as a politician. She went in as a pissed off mom who basically went in because they were cutting education funding in her district, and she was that's how she basically she was like a community organizer.
1993. She's been in the Senate since 1993.
Yeah, so she kind of was in I think she was in, so there was like that first wave of like Pat Schroeder and Barbara Mikulski.
That's
and
another
people
Pat.
like that. Yeah, but she doesn't go by Patti.
Okay.
So that's why she wasn't in the contest. But she's probably one of the longest serving senators. She came in 93, so she's been in for a big long while.
Yeah, 25 years.
Yeah.
It's a good long run.
And it's tough because she's awesome.
And she's got that record.
And it's tough because
that would kind of make her over any of the other ones.
It's tough because we have the intro round, like the playing round.
Right.
And based on the draw, it's like she's facing off against Patti Smith.
Yeah, Patti Smith
which
is way cooler. Patti
awesome.
Smith is going to beat pretty much any senator.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean,
male or female, I can't think of a senator.
I think of all time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of a senator, even Roman senator.
Well, I could probably think of a few of those, but there weren't. But if this is Roman senator's name Pat,
yeah,
I don't think she'd win.
Yeah, but I mean, you could throw in whatever name. I think Patti Smith can definitely.
Yeah, I think she's going to be cooler, at least, than, maybe not more historically important, but definitely just in terms of coolness, she's going to be cooler than pretty much any other government anything.
But is this about cool?
I'm just.
Well, it's about it's
or is
about
it the
who's
total
ultimate.
package?
The total
it's about the
package.
total package.
Yeah. So coolness, influence. How many people she inspired in terms of being a strong female figure in early punk rock. Certainly inspired.
But to be fair, though, I mean, I don't know anything about what's her name, the politician.
Patti Murray.
But let's be honest, if she did even an ounce of good as a senator, that counts a lot more than just inspiring punk rock bands.
Hey, it's.
I mean, that may be a matter of opinion, but just historical importance. I mean,
Patti Smith is also like a fantastic writer too.
Well, and because the night that song was awesome. Yeah, I'm not trying to diss her.
Yeah, but she's written a bunch of books and things like that. She's. I think she's one of those people that when you listen to a lot of people talk about especially a lot of people in the 80s like Michael Stipe, from REM and stuff. It's like almost like the thing of like Velvet Underground and Nico, where it's just like you bought a copy of Velvet Underground
and then
Nico.
started
with the banana on the cover.
Yeah, and you started and Horses was the same way.
Yeah,
and as much as I like Patti Murray and I submitted her into this contest, Patti Smith has got the edge.
Yeah, I will go with that.
I don't know who Patti Murray is. So, Patti Smith, the night belongs to you.
All right. So we have the matchup of Patti Duke versus Patti Mayonnaise.
Okay. Patti Mayonnaise was how old?
12.
12. But she talked like a 64-year-old woman.
Gee, Doug, are you going to take me to the dance this week?
Well, it's funny because we bring up the Sooty Show on this show, right? And Sue from the Sooty Show.
The panda?
Matthew's mom did the voice of Sue, and it was so funny because it was like these supposedly 4-year-old puppets, and it was just like, oh, Matthew, do you need to?
She has the oldest sounding voice of it. Yeah. I like remember the other comes in and goes, pipe down, panda. Super Dog, whoever his enemy was.
Butch.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, Patti Mayonnaise, yeah, it was always fun.
Staple of my childhood, by the way.
Another one with that orange tan like the Hulkster.
Yeah, she had that
Like
Billy
Billy
Graham
Graham,
tan. Yeah.
The actors who played Patti Mayonnaise had some brief role in some movie. I don't even remember what it was. It might have actually been Weekend at Bernie's 2. And you can tell it's her instantly because she talks exactly like Patti Mayonnaise.
Yeah, no.
Hey, y'all.
Well, yeah,
Hey, Doug.
Well, it's funny because she has a southern accent. She's the only person in Bluffington that has a southern accent.
That's true. But that can happen because
BB Bluff had like a mid-Atlantic accent.
Well, it's said
Yeah.
that Bluffington was supposed to be around Richmond or something.
Okay, so Constance Schulman is the voice of Patti Mayonnaise.
It's Yoga Jones.
And she is also plays Yoga Jones in Orange is the New Black.
No way. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Does she talk like Patti Mayonnaise on that?
yeah.
And none of y'all noticed this.
Well, you know.
Hey, y'all in prison. What are you in for?
There's this Guatemalan grandma who's been teaching herself English watching Turner and Hooch about 6 times a day.
She kind of looks like Patti Mayonnaise.
She does
too.
like Patti Mayonnaise. Oh my gosh.
About yoga today.
That's crazy.
Oh.
She does look like Patti
taking a little
Mayonnaise.
break.
Holy. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Revelation, man. I didn't
That's
know.
why they cast her. Maybe she came in there. You look exactly like this drawing.
Hey, Doug.
The thing with Patti Mayonnaise was that she was the apple of
Doug's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also the apple of Roger Klotz's eye. She was like a better athlete than Chalky Studebaker, too.
Patty, you the pickle on my coleslaw. Patty, you the sugar in my tea.
Who puts
Patty,
pickle
you
in
the relish on my
coleslaw?
hot dog. And Patty, you the mayonnaise.
Who puts
to me.
pickle and coleslaw and lettuce on a hot dog?
Oh, don't some people dice the pickle and make it part of the coleslaw?
Yeah, I don't like
That's
this at all.
relish, yo.
For a guy that listens to a lot of beats, I would think Doug would pick up more about hip music than he did.
Yeah, I know.
But he's like one of those, what do you call it? Ukulele nerds when it comes to singing.
Yeah, he was like a Doug was one of the Mumfords.
Yeah.
But no, so there's Patti Mayonnaise, Patti Duke.
Patti Duke won an Oscar when she was a teenager for The Miracle Worker.
Yeah.
She was on the Patti Duke show where she was so beautiful, they had to make her play 2 characters because there was just too much woman to be just one character. And she was in that terrible movie, Valley of the Dolls or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, Valley of the Dolls with Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
There was 2 Patti Dukes.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Kathy adored the minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette. But Patty liked to rock and roll, and a hot dog made her lose control. So even a hot dog with lettuce, presumably. They were both awesome, but I actually always liked the formal one better with her little, quiet, bad, whatever it was supposed to be accent. I think we've got a lot of homework this week, Kathy. I always thought she'd be a real nice girl that you could you go over to her house to help her with Latin homework, but then it turns out you conjugating something else. Or maybe you wouldn't because she's a good kind of girl, but I really liked the smart Patti Duke on that show.
She has 2 Golden Globes. She's got an Oscar. She's got 3 Emmys. So, yeah.
2 honorary doctorates.
Does she have a Tony, too? She's probably like Liza Minnelli
She's
here.
close to an EGOT, yeah. And Duke also served as the president of the Screen Actors Guild from 85 to 88.
Really? I didn't know that, actually.
How crazy is that?
That seems to be like a common... I don't mean to disrespect her, but isn't that kind of a common thing for washed-up actors or something?
Well, Reagan.
Charlton Heston did it.
Charlton Heston, Reagan, yeah.
Melissa Gilbert.
Yeah. So, Patti Duke and Patti Mayonnaise.
Well, everybody knows I'm super biased on this one, so I mean, I'm
obviously
going
it's
to have to
gonna-
leave it up to y'all.
Yeah, well,
But I'm a good sport. because-
I'm going mayonnaise because I'm basing this on the Billy D. Williams model. Who's been more important to me for longer?
Yeah, fair enough. fair
Totally
enough.
subjective.
Yeah.
Patti Mayonnaise, I grew up with. Doug was my. I was right there. I was there when Doug broke Mr. Dink's grill that looked like his own face. I was there
When he met her at the Honker Burger.
when Percy Femur was going to kill Roger Klotz, and then
Percy
he grew
Fe-
up to be Brock Lesnar.
Yes, I was about to say that. Grew up to- and then,
Yeah, I
and
was
then
fucking
Roger Klotz
there,
grew up to
man.
be Macklemore. But no, I'm going to vote for Patti Duke, actually.
All right,
Oh,
then.
wow, I'm surprised at that,
Yeah.
Pat. So that's two Patti Dukes.
Patty Duke advances.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I'm a good sport. I actually expected the mayonnaise to cover that one.
All right.
The Patti Duke Show is brought to you by Nabisco, makers of quality cookies, crackers, cereals, and so many other good things to eat. Nabisco.
So the next matchup is going to be Patty Hearst versus Patti Smyth.
Let me just say something about Patty Hearst. So, if you're listening to us, you know, chances are you're at least vaguely aware of the Nerdist podcast, and you might be aware that Chris Hardwick, the comedian, TV show host, former butt cut man of Singled Out, married Patty Hearst's daughter. And that leaves open the very real possibility of landing Patty Hearst as a guest on that podcast, and I desperately want to hear Chris Hardwick go like, "So you picked up a machine gun and robbed a bunch of fucking banks?
So you heard the burst of Roland's Thompson gun.
What was that like?" You know, because ever since that happened, I was like, "Please God, let there be a fucking Nerdist interview with Patty fucking Hearst."
It's taken me that long to do a Warren Zevon reference
Hey,
on
man.
this show. I could have done it during the Rick Wood episode when he looks like Warren Zevon. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So I think God, I mean, you know, look, we've talked about it many times. The 70s were just fucking cool, and every once in a while, a millionaire heiress would just disappear from an apartment on Bienvenue Avenue. Which, by the way, in Berkeley, when I lived in Berkeley, very briefly, I lived on Bienvenue Avenue.
But where is Symbia?
Well, Symbia is a state of mind, man.
okay.
Is that guy from The Lion King or something?
So Patty Hearst was William Randolph Hearst's granddaughter. Was living in an apartment in Berkeley, right near Cal, and this was kidnapped by a rebel group called the Symbionese Liberation Army, and everybody was like, "Oh God, where's Patty Hearst?" And they wanted ransom and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, she turns up in a bank with a fucking machine gun and a beret, looking badass.
Yeah.
Robbing a fucking bank, and she
She was
much
like, she's wearing like a Joan Jett. Well, Joan Jett's wearing that.
Yeah, Joan Jett is.
Joan Jett.
Her whole look is very much modeled on that one security tape of Patty Hearst with the machine gun in the bank
Wasn't
lobby.
Patty Hearst look modeled on the Black Panthers?
Yeah, totally. Well, Symbionese Liberation Army was.
It was like the white, rich Black Panthers.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd just be attacking the IRS or something.
Right. And then the best part is the Symbionese Liberation Army. Most of them were shot up in a house here in L.A., so they died. But she was smart. She was in the Bay, and then she just got arrested, and then claimed like she had been
Stockholm syndrome,
brainwashed.
sort of.
Stockholm syndrome. Much of the awareness of the affliction of Stockholm syndrome comes from Patty Hearst's excuse.
When
really
it's not from Stockholm?
No.
Because I would think that's where the awareness came from.
Well, I mean, you know,
That's where
really,
the name came from.
Like ABBA came from Stockholm technically, but they were popularized in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's kind of like that.
Yeah, and being a dancing queen was the original Stockholm syndrome.
Well, they all married each other in that band, so it might have been a sort of Stockholm syndrome of being in ABBA.
Yeah, and later Fleetwood Mac had the same problem. But my point is, the reason I put Patty Hearst into the hat is that because she was arrested and they asked her, like, why did you do this? And she said, well, I was brainwashed and I had Stockholm syndrome and I did it. Now, two possibilities here. And both of them are both equally cool. One, that really happened to her. Like she was, you know, maybe brainwashed by these people, convinced, you know, her entire brain was sort of rearranged, and then she went and robbed banks, right?
Right.
Which sucks for her, but she got to rob a bank. That's pretty cool.
I agree. Robbing a bank with a gun is cool.
Fucking cool.
But claiming
in a leather suit.
In a leather suit, in a beret,
that's
looking
kinda cool.
sexy as fuck.
I agree she looked great doing it, but is abandoning your fellow bank robbers, not having the balls to die with them, and then playing the victim
and not
when you're
defending
rich.
the honor of Symbia.
Symbia.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows what Symbia is?
Yeah,
Apparently, maybe it's like symbionts or something, like, and you can't live without them.
Yeah, well, I think that's actually where the name comes from. But the other possibility is just as cool. She saw the writing on the wall. She was like, "Good," and then she was like, "I was in a fugue state," and she got away with it. So either way,
let's be fair. If she wasn't an heiress heiress, and she was what was the Black Panther lady?
Angela Davis.
Angela Davis. Yeah,
if
yeah.
she wasn't a rich white chick, let's say,
Yeah.
she would have been more full of holes than goddamn Swiss cheese.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. But
Yeah.
my only point is, the
I mean,
reason
Angela Davis was on the run for a while.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Patty Hearst is heiress and all that.
All I'm saying is the reason I popped her into this hat.
Well, she definitely should be in here.
Because she got away with a fucking a bunch of bank robberies.
I'm all
How
for
cool is
getting
that?
It's cool when poor people do it, but when rich people do it, I
Yeah.
think it's a miscarriage. I don't like to be moralistic.
No, that's
I'm just
fair.
adding that. You know,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
my opinion.
No, that's absolutely fair. She's not a Bonnie.
And Clyde were. Oh my! I seen that car.
Patty
you know,
Smyth. Okay, she was the okay. She's the lead singer of the band Scandal, and she was and you know, Goodbye to You and Bang Bang, I Am the Warrior. You know, those songs are great. Here's the thing about Patty Smyth that makes her awesome. When Diamond Dave left Van Halen, the first person that Eddie Van Halen called to be the lead singer of Van Halen after Diamond Dave left, Patti Smyth. She could have been. She was like, which Rivers
would have been an interesting
Rivers
band.
kind of goes like, oh yeah, she's cooler than Sammy Hagar. That's not too high of a. No, that's.
I was going to
that's
make a
kind
crack
of-
about Sammy Hagar.
That's kind of awesome. Where it's just like,
Yeah, I agree because she was
Your
a cutie. She had a good voice, and her mixed with Eddie Van Halen would have been an interesting combination.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome.
No, the only reason I giggled was it was not about her. I'm just thinking of Eddie Van Halen sitting there, crossing her name off the list, and then being like, Hagar, I guess? Like,
well, Montrose was an awesome band.
Yeah.
you know?
And I Can't Drive 55 has a certain fuck the power fun to it.
Well, no. If y'all want to listen to a good, here's a good album of the week. Montrose's self-titled album. It's a teenage Sammy Hagar singing.
Okay.
And the first song, "Rock the Nation." That's a winner.
So we're giving you homework for the week. Rock the
but-
Nation,
but-
Horses.
Yeah, but Patti Smyth, like she was. It was one of those things because she was kind of wrapped up in that '80s cheese-tastic.
Yeah. I Am the Warrior definitely is in that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or Goodbye to You is even like a cheese-tastic, like '80s.
But the
type
rest of
song.
the band, besides her, is like toothless.
Yeah. Like they're just like there. She actually was the person that kind of like was the gears behind it.
She was good looking. She had a lot of persona. She had a great voice. The rest of the band is just a bunch of dorks playing
Yeah.
keyboards.
And but to be fair, I think she was married to one of those dorks, and that's why she didn't leave Scandal. Yeah.
What else did Scandal go on to?
You know, just touring. You know,
Well, I mean, did they have? They didn't have no more hits.
I
or-
mean, they had some like minor hits in there, but yeah, no, I think she was married to.
Hey, I've always liked her. And listen how fun in '80s that also.
Oh yeah, no, she had that duet. She had a duet with Don Henley, which it's so amazing because
If dirt
she-
were dollars.
Wow, she married John McEnroe.
Yeah, but no,
Oh, he was awesome.
yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, she sang that song with Don Henley. And it's just like, it's so funny because it's like she made that song good because Don Henley stinks.
What song was she on with him?
Sometimes love just ain't enough, you know. If you've gone to the dentist, you've probably heard this song.
Yeah.
If they put that song on, I'm like for somebody to turn on the drill.
Yeah, but no, Patti Smyth is awesome. And I would,
and now she gets to spend her mornings just hearing shit, fuck from the
No,
other room.
God damn it! Yeah, he's just walking around with like a sweatband on.
just
like-
breaking shit.
Oh man,
Is it my imagination, or was he on MSNBC or something
Yeah.
for a minute?
Yeah.
he was awesome. The '80s was when even tennis players were badass. Remember Jimmy Connors?
Yeah.
Those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
I love that she, this person, she's very 80s. He's very 80s. Their household is an episode of Where Are They Now?
It's a very 80s.
It's a very
life.
80s matchup. Yeah.
So this is like 80s versus the early 70s, but really the spirit of the 60s.
Yeah.
This is the collective versus the me generation.
Yeah. And I'm going with Patti Smyth.
Oh, me too.
I mean, hey,
I don't
moving on.
blame you, Rivers, because anybody who gets a great photo opportunity with a machine gun, I don't blame.
That's kind of what I'm basing it on. Is like,
So
she looks
goodbye
cool.
to you,
Yeah,
Patty. Goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. Everybody, you.
She was so cute in that video because she would just jump around and like point at the other guys.
No, she was great.
She was awesome.
Yeah, she was a really good like lead, and if she was like in because like Van Halen went down the tubes when it was Van Hagar. I think Van Smyth would have been pretty good.
A female singer gives a band a different direction. It's colorful. I like that.
And I think that like just thinking of like her singing with like. You know, because I was thinking of like the guitar solo from Beat It, like that sort of thing with her in the mix with that sort of insert. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, Hagar kind of made the band. No offense to Hagar, who in his own way is good for what he is, but like you know, he kind of made it like an older type band.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas
just
I think Patti Smith was actually made it more hip.
Very youthful, as opposed to some receding hairline.
Yeah, like okay,
best of both worlds. It's like get out of here.
Yeah, that's true. But that song about being face down in Cabo is pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like their music. They went to like their music videos being like straight up like stuff that should be played on country music television. All right, so all right, next matchup. Peppermint Patty versus Patti Page.
Okay, I have to say this. I'm going with Patti Page because Peppermint Patty's never been one of my favorite characters.
Really? I always liked Peppermint Patty a lot.
All right, in the mid-'60s, Charles Schultz added some modern characters to Peanuts, which Peppermint Patty,
right,
and you know Franklin, which was all nice, but I never cared for the modern characters.
Yeah.
Peppermint Patty was supposed to be doing her tomboy thing. Her soccer jersey, shorts, and sandals I thought looked even more dated than Lucy's like saddle shoes.
Yeah, well, that's fair. This is my defense of Peppermint Patty. The thing I've always admired about her is that more so than probably any other character in the greater Peanuts universe, she's the one that has her head screwed on the straightest. I think.
She's the most real character.
Yeah.
And like her and Snoopy are the two most real characters.
Yeah. And Snoopy has his like flights of fancy. Peppermint Patty is right down there.
Do you want to know why? I think Charles Schultz liked Peppermint Patty a lot. He liked the character a lot. He said he thought she could carry her own strip. Charles Schultz was the father of something like 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Peppermint Patty was supposed to be like, she had a single parent, just a dad.
Yeah.
So there was always a lot of stuff between Peppermint Patty and her dad. I think Charles Schultz put a lot of being like the dad to several daughters into the Peppermint Patty character, and that's why I think people thought she was real. But that said, as a Peanuts purist, I think the thing sort of peaked in the mid-'60s.
I always liked Peppermint Patty a lot, and I remember they had the second Christmas time, like Charlie Brown Christmas. It's Christmas
time.
time.
The 90s?
Yeah, Christmas time, Charlie Brown. And her as a sheep.
Yeah.
That was like the funniest. It cracked me up to no end. I thought she was, when she would call like Charlie Brown Chuck. Yeah,
that was her big thing.
She
liked him too. Remember, our hands are touching, Chuck.
Yeah, I thought she was awesome. I thought Peppermint Patty was like. I was always a Snoopy guy. I had a stuffed Snoopy that I took everywhere as a kid. But Peppermint Patty was my second favorite character. She was cool as shit. You know, she'd be like, she had flip-flops. You know,
I didn't like that.
She dresses how I dress in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly. She dresses like Rivers.
I mean, that's cute, but I mean, Rivers, saddle shoes and that cute little dress on Lucy. I mean, I don't know. That's one thing I always liked about Peanuts is that it went back to like the 50s and the characters dressed like they were from the 50s.
Right.
And to me, that was always sort of the fun of Peanuts.
Now, that said, speaking of the 50s, Patti Page.
Yeah.
Wonderful voice. Back when you used to have a hell of a good voice to be a singer.
Yeah. Now, for those that don't know, this is maybe the most famous Patti Page song.
How much is that dog in the window?
To be fair, though, this is kind of a novelty hit, and I like to think of her as the singer of Tennessee Waltz, which is an awesome and
I'll play in a second,
song.
but the thing I wanted to mention about her, as far as Patti Page goes, this was kind of the last hit on the charts before Elvis hit.
Yeah.
So right before Elvis, this is what rock and roll kind of destroyed in a way as this sort of pop
Well,
sound.
I missed that about this
essentially.
pop sound.
It was like
Yeah.
the Tin Pan Alley and the Tin Pan Alley, post sort of songwriting machine.
Well, and a lot of rock and roll, I should say before I go too deep into that, like Blueberry Hill is a Tin Pan
Yeah.
Alley song. There's, a million of the old Beatles songs were Tin Pan Alley songs.
But even then, like Tin Pan Alley, people like Baby Boomers just in the '60s and all that.
Yeah.
Those songs were all good. Everybody singing on a record then had to have talent and a voice. All those
Right.
records are good.
Yeah.
Later on, the quality of music wasn't "this is good music."
Yeah.
It became a subjective thing. This will piss off my parents.
Yes,
So
yes.
I like it whether it's good or not. And to me, Patti Page goes back to the era of this is a good record.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this song especially kind of became the symbol of what you just said, where it's like, oh, well, we're rejecting this. This was like,
And it's a
sort
good
of
song.
and it's a fine
It's
song.
an awesome
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
And all y'all baby boomers that rejected it, at the same time, you
Yeah.
rejected that whole generation that fought World War II.
Yeah, you rejected the New Deal. You screwed everything up, baby boomers.
That's right. And you took all the Social Security money for ourselves, so
Yeah.
our education stank because of it.
Yeah.
But let's hear the song you were referencing. This is absolutely a beautiful song. Tennessee Waltz.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz.
Yeah, this is it.
When an old friend
this is such
Brings a
good
tear
one.
to your eye.
Oh, it really
Yeah.
does.
Bring a tear to a glass eye.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, Columbo would be crying his eyes out of this thing. Both of them.
Both of them.
So would Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
So would what's her name? Sandy Duncan.
my friends.
So Patti Page, great.
Yeah, because she went into that kind of country realm.
Right. A lot of people of that
Yeah,
era
a lot
kind
of
did.
that era that
Hell,
kind of got cast off.
Yeah, that's where Jerry Lee went too after the whole boom was over.
And that music was awesome.
Yeah,
Seriously, all
absolutely.
that old country music and that sort of crossover country pop from the '60s. I love that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before the Nashville sort of sound
Yeah.
took off. Yeah. Like she was very much kind of in that mix where they were like country infused pop music.
Right.
She had that one about Cape Cod, right? Isn't that the one about the old lamplighter of old Cape Cod?
Yeah.
Yep, Old Cape Cod right here.
All
This
these
one.
songs used to be on the radio all the time.
Yeah, and
My daddy
they
would
were
listen to
kind of
this
and
stuff.
they were kind of cast off. I mean, they were like kind of there were a number of singers Perry Como.
This is the type of stuff that
yeah.
He was awesome.
this is the type of stuff that fills the bins at Goodwills and stuff like that. When you're looking through like records, because older people pass away,
Yeah.
and all their records just get dumped in the back of the Goodwill, and so this sort of fills the sort of thrift store. It's almost a genre unto itself.
Yeah.
It spans several decades, but
But
there
it's-
is a definite thrift store genre.
But she was a hell of a singer, and I mean,
Yeah.
she used to come to because I grew up in Florida. I mean, there's a lot of retirees and things like that.
Yeah.
She would come to our town to perform, and gosh darn it, if she didn't sell out the 3,000 seat theater every time.
Yeah, I bet.
Every time, yeah, and because she was kind of the music of an era, and she had a hell of a voice. I mean, she could definitely carry the tune really well.
But yeah, so she passed away in 2013, but still listen to all the music. It's all out there.
I'm getting a tear in my eye almost thinking about
Yeah,
that.
so this is a tough one. For
This is a
me
good round.
personally.
This is a good
This
round.
is a good matchup.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as difficult.
This
I
is
think,
two
as the
strong
next one.
patties. There was say two wild beef patties. You understand?
So
Yeah.
what are you thinking, y'all?
All killer, no filler with this round.
So I'm gonna
special sauce.
I'm gonna hold back a little bit because I'm not quite sure of which direction to go in. So Rivers, good night.
Oh, well.
What are you feeling?
I don't want to influence anybody.
Yeah, again, I'm having to stick by my rule here, although it's very hard. But I grew up watching Peanuts on TV. I never actually read. I mean, I guess I casually read the strip, but I wasn't like a devotee of the strip. I watched the television show.
When I was
Yeah.
really young, it was like bigger than like Mickey Mouse or any of that. Peanuts was
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
big in
yeah.
like the 60s through the 70s, through into the
Yeah.
early 80s even. It
Yeah.
was gigantic.
But I watched that TV show, and I do specifically remember thinking Peppermint Patty and Marcy too are the only people who have their freaking head on straight in this world. Everyone else is insane. Lucy was like the ultimate heel.
Yeah.
Charlie
like that
Brown,
about her.
the ultimate baby face.
Linus was that annoying
the
guy.
dumb baby face.
That annoying
you know?
but philosophical fella.
Yeah, well,
with
that's
sparse hair.
He's the Hamlet. He's the dundering.
Kierkegaard.
Yeah. So everybody in that show used to like. I enjoyed the show.
He's a 5-year-old Kierkegaard.
Yeah.
So he's not like a hot like Danish guy.
Right. And Schroeder was
sparse hair.
Schroeder was obviously the talent, but he couldn't.
Schroeder, I think, might not like girls because if I was him, I'd be all over Lucy on top of that piano.
Yeah, but
she wanted him so bad.
Yeah, but
he
couldn't
like
assert himself.
7, so that's when girls.
Okay,
had
that might have
cooties.
something to do with the
Yeah,
trope.
yeah.
Right. But point is, I'd watch that show. Every single character on the show, for the most part, had a thing that was just like that would kind of irk at me a little bit, even though I enjoyed the show. But Marcy and Peppermint Patty, they would have their little side adventures, and I'd be like, yeah, that's about how I'd react. You know,
I think we have a different view on Peanut. I can be a Peanuts purist.
Yeah.
And I get into this like the best Peanuts was from the late 50s through right about when they introduced the new characters in the 60s.
Is that the TV show or the strip?
The strip.
Okay, see, I'm more or less unfamiliar
with the
strip.
TV show. That would coincide with the first 2 or 3 specials.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So like the Halloween and the Christmas.
Oh, gotcha.
And the baseball one.
Yeah,
maybe.
the TV show was the only good thing they would show on Nick Jr. Pretty much. Like,
oh, do you mean the TV show, not the specials?
No, I mean like they would have the Peanuts, the TV show,
the one that was from the 80s.
Yeah, where all the adults are.
Oh yeah.
They sound like Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
Hey, they got to try.
So I'm going Peppermint Patty.
Good night.
Well, I don't want to influence anyone, but I mean, I must be honest. Just as a personal thing, these are both great, figures.
Yeah.
But I might be a little more of a Patty Page mark. It seems.
So I extolled the virtues of Peppermint Patty. I think she's one of my favorite Peanuts characters. But I'm going to go with Patty Page on that one because Tennessee Waltz is a fantastic song. And how much is that dog in the window? I mean, come on.
I love that song. Both these songs bring these tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
And think about what we lost because those damn baby boomers.
Yeah.
The waggly tail. How much is that dog in the window?
All right, what do we got next?
Patti Smith versus Patti LaBelle.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a tough one because
This is a couple of big musical Patties.
Yeah, and these are a couple of just like awesome women. You know, just like really.
This might be the hardest.
Yeah, this
matchup
could
here.
be it's like one of those situations whenever they misseed things in the NCAA tournament where it's like two powerhouses going up against each other early on.
So my pitch for Patti LaBelle, first of all, obviously the music career.
Yeah.
That's a given. And it's interesting because both of these Patties were sort of hitting their peak at almost exactly the same time, right? Like they were both powerhouses of the music of the 1970s. You know, Patti LaBelle obviously a little bit more on the pop side, Patti Smith being a little bit more on like kind of like artsy, avant-garde side. But nevertheless, all of the albums they put out at this time, bang on both sides. They're both still hold up and are fucking cool.
And they're both badass.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I wouldn't fuck with either of them. Ever.
They could both whoop me.
Right.
You know?
Here's the little one-ups, and this is the fat kid in me talking. This is my little argument for Patti LaBelle, is that she has pies. Have you had any of Patti LaBelle's
sweet potato pies?
Oh my God, her pies!
God.
You can go to a grocery store around Thanksgiving.
I think you mentioned this.
Patti
Holy
LaBelle's
shit.
sweet potato pies.
Patti LaBelle's sweet potato pies. I would say, as far as coolness goes, as far as the music goes, head-to-head, unmovable object meeting an irresistible force.
Oh my gosh!
But the one little thing putting Patti LaBelle over Patti Smith, those goddamn pies are delicious.
I have a favorite in this matchup, but I have to admit, Patti LaBelle's sweet potato pies.
You know when they say someone's all that in a bag of chips? She's all that in a pumpkin fucking pie.
Oh my God, those things are so good. It's like, and it's one of those things that you can't get around here.
You can get it at the Walmart. If you
have them at the Walmart?
If you go to the Walmart in Corona there.
Oh my God.
Yep, they got 'em.
Because I remember that was like a thing for the longest time where it was like a regional thing.
It's because Oprah put her over.
Yeah,
Why come
Oprah.
we don't eat one of these on the show?
Well, I'll go try to track one down. As far as I know, I think they might be seasonal. They're like an
seasonal,
autumnal pie because she just does like sweet potato and pumpkin, I think. But if I could track one down, I'll bring it on. But that's all my point. And and again, it's it's the fat kid in me. But boy, a badass lady with good disco tunes and a pie. pie. Get out of here.
I mean, cook.
Bake,
if you will.
Yeah.
The sweet potato on my own is like such an amazing song.
I mean, yeah, hell yeah.
That song kicks ass.
Yeah. Oh, just imagine you're sitting there, you're full of turkey, but you got room for one more thing.
Yeah, that's it.
And you make your way down the stairs. Everybody's asleep. It's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
Football games are over.
The Detroit Lions have probably lost.
But in that ice box, you know there's something waiting for you.
Yeah, they always
A
play,
slice of Patti LaBelle's
They always play this song
sweet
on,
potato pie.
They always play this
That
song
sounds
on,
dirty when you put it that way.
this song is always on 104.7 and this
Yeah.
one's like I'm not a huge fan of like the softer
Yeah.
R&B of that era.
Right,
but this
right.
one is
I mean, let's stop fucking around. Let's hear
yeah.
this song is
Yeah.
will forever be
Yeah.
one of the most badass things ever.
Three bad women in spacesuits.
Yeah.
yeah. You know, like the glam influence
Oh,
on
yeah.
R&B.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
everything happening in the song is just like weird and cool.
Yeah, it's a good.
It's got the organ that ding 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 like
Yeah.
it just
Hello, Joe. Want to give it a go?
And I'm sure a lot of people listening have heard this song. Do yourself a favor, go on YouTube and we'll pop this up on our Twitter. We're at
Yeah,
the Goods
yeah.
Pod. Find like videos of them doing this song a lot. It's so
They're
cool.
they're all wearing like Ace Frehley's outfit.
yeah, they're so cool.
Bowie said, like, he saw that and he was like, oh, like the glam rock thing spread to this now.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this
Yeah.
is okay. This
he was
is cool.
impressed by it.
Yeah.
And then Bowie, right after that, starts doing what?
Young Americans.
Young
yeah,
Americans.
starts going to the R&B thing. So you have to wonder, was Patti LaBelle responsible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
who's influencing who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so I'm gonna have to. So everybody has their advocate.
Yeah, my
Patti LaBelle.
pitch is completely pie based.
Oh no,
I think
no,
they're
but her
both great.
music based.
Well,
Like,
no, I'm saying I think they're both great musically, but the pie puts LaBelle slightly up.
I'm gonna advocate for Patti Smith because
Preach, brother, preach.
Patti Smith is. I'm sorry. She's probably the top 10 coolest ever.
Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine.
It's the first song on the album, the first line.
What a lead in. I love it.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then she turns into a cover of Gloria by them, which
Yeah.
is like, and it's just like so much better than them's cover, than them's version of Gloria.
Yeah.
theologically, though, that is a challengeable statement.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the thing is that just to give you an idea of how cool Patti Smith is that she came to New York in like the late 60s.
Yeah.
And if you see photos of her in the late 60s,
Oh yeah.
she looks punk as fuck.
Yeah.
In the late 60s.
Right.
Like here's a photo of her.
We'll pop this up on our
yeah,
Twitter
Robert
again.
Mapplethorpe and her.
Yeah.
It's like you just look at her and it's just like
I actually went to the Getty recently and
Yeah.
they had a Robert
Same here.
Mapplethorpe exhibit.
Like it's just like you look at her in 1969 and
Yeah.
it's just like she looks like light years ahead of like what fashion is.
Right, yeah.
She's the coolest.
But was she light years ahead as Patti LaBelle was in her spacesuit?
It's tough to say, right?
This is a tough one. This
Because
is a really
it's like
tough one.
it's like back then, like wearing a black T-shirt and having black hair and just being like her look was as almost transgressive as a spacesuit in that era, which is like really weird, you know. I would, but yeah, I think Patti LaBelle's awesome, but I think Patti Smith musically has a richer catalog, and her books are really good, and just like she's just as cool. Like Just Kids is an awesome book, you know. Just yeah, she's great. So.
It was a tough one. I mean, somebody's got to.
It's a tough one. I think it's on you. Good night.
Well, I don't want to influence no one.
Well, I think we both made our vote. It's just
Okay,
on
so everybody's
you.
already made up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm really biased in a way because when it comes to music, I'm actually really fond of like female R&B singers
like
from the 70s.
Disco.
I like Aretha. I like Jean Knight.
Yep,
I
I'm
like
the same way.
Gladys Knight a lot. I like
man.
Patti LaBelle. This is the kind of music I like.
Yeah.
And
I
I-
do too.
yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, and I got to say, if this, if this was a fight amongst Gladyses, Gladys Knight, just for the damn chicken and waffles place would probably run away with it.
Place
so.
closed down.
What?
Well, you can't. Well, that
Did
was
the Pips walked off the job?
Yeah, Ron left. Yeah, Georgia. I don't know what it was. It was like I walked by it and it was shuttered and it had plywood on it, and I was just like, no.
Whole damn town's going to hell.
Yeah, I know.
I swear.
Yeah, it's just
Get your shit together, Atlanta.
Yeah, it's just become Airbnb the city.
that's going to happen. I think a lot of American cities, but that's another issue
So
for another
are you
time.
going with Patti LaBelle?
Yeah,
This should
sorry,
have been the
guys.
final.
All right.
Honestly,
This is a tough one. There's no doubt about it.
It should have been the final.
Children, universal love, space children. Are there any others? You better take a look if you're in love.
Some big musical Patties.
Yep.
I'm hurt. All right, so Patti Duke versus Patti Smyth.
There's Patti Smith and Patti Smyth.
Yeah.
And
Smith
that's
is-
starting to confuse me every now and then.
So Smith is out.
Smith is out. Smyth is still in.
Yeah.
I'm biased on this one. Everybody knows that. So,
Well, I got to say, I have limited experience with both Patties. So in this one, I'm
Would Patti Duke ever be the lead singer of Van Halen?
Patti Duke
That's
had a
the
record.
question.
Patti Duke sang on her show. Remember Tell Me Mama What to Do? She tried to go for that like pop thing. But I don't know how good she would have been in Van Halen. But by
Yeah.
that point, she would have been like 40 years old.
right.
Which would have made her only slightly older than Sammy Hagar.
Man, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Patti Duke
Really?
because she's funny. And I had to hear "I Am a Warrior" over and over at the grilled cheese sandwich
That's
store
true.
that I worked at.
That's true. That's a
So-
song they can grade on.
See, that's what can happen if you're not careful with
I'm
your
just
music.
saying- I'm just thinking about hypotheticals of Patti Smyth leading Van Halen and how awesome.
I agree that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I like bands with female
Yeah, I would
singers.
just like that would be like real. Like when you really think about it, that would be really awesome. Just to imagine like if she went by Patti, right? Pat Benatar. Right?
Yeah.
Pat Benatar
Yeah.
being the lead singer of Van Halen would have ruled.
That would have been really good.
That would have been really good because she had like a hard like
And
even
she
the-
could sing like a motherfucker.
Oh
too.
yeah. I mean, she was trained in opera,
But
The
she was
songs-
married to a producer, right?
She was married to the guitarist from.
So she would have had to stay with him then, and not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pat Benatar as an act kind of like petered out around the time when
Pat Benatar, I think, had a lot more talent as a musician or a singer than her act even.
Yeah.
Because sometimes her career was kind of like, what is she doing? You know, like
and-
sex is a
but I
weapon
mean,
and shit.
Yeah, but it was like she was the second video played on MTV. Like, and I mean,
Oh, no, she was really big back
yeah,
then.
the decision to play the Buggles first was like kind of like video killed the radio star. That's kind of kind of a message, a manifesto. But like Pat Benatar was a huge act.
She really was.
She was like, and she was like kind of one of those people that everybody knows, like the kind of
Hit Me With Your Best Shot. That was a
Yeah, yeah.
gigantic hit. You still hear that one a lot.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker, too.
So our next matchup in the semifinals.
Too bad Pat Benatar wasn't a Patty.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
So
I know.
Patti Duke advances.
Patti Duke advances
Okay.
to the finals. Patti Page versus Patti LaBelle. I don't think that there's going to be any question.
Yeah.
in this one.
Yeah. This is
As awesome as great as Patti Page is as a singer, Patti LaBelle.
Yeah, I really like Patti Page, but even I'll admit, like Patti LaBelle was more like influential
Yeah,
musician.
yeah.
And they both had really good voices, and that's a big one in my book. But I know, yeah.
Spacesuits.
Yeah. And she wrote the songs too, some, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she has the moniker of being the godmother of soul.
yeah. I've heard that.
Which is
before.
that's
a big one.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And there's a lot of people that could have, a lot of ladies that could have had that moniker, and Patti LaBelle has it.
Also, if you remember on the song "On My Own," you get a little Michael McDonald action.
Michael McDonald is the catalyst for so many good songs.
Wait, hang on. Oh yeah. Smoothest of the smooth.
Taking it to the streets.
Yeah.
Oh
What a
man.
hell of a voice that guy has.
Dear Lord. I mean, just two powerhouses.
Yeah.
Just, I
So-
mean, that's like a That's like
Patti LaBelle.
That's like 2 nuclear power plants firing at once.
So I think this might be. I think this might be a matchup that's a final that's incredibly lopsided. But
yeah.
Patty Duke versus Patti LaBelle.
Oh yeah. I mean, I will say we have done a pretty good job narrowing it down to the 2 of the coolest Patties.
Yeah, I mean, personally, Patti Smith should have been the final.
It should have been Patti Smith, Patti LaBelle.
LaBelle is the final.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, y'all know I'm biased.
Yeah, Duke and UNC have already played.
Yeah.
They've already played each other. Are those good basketball teams still?
Yes, they
I
are.
don't know anything
They
about
I like the
basketball.
Duke symmetry on this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Patty Duke, Patti LaBelle. Again, all due respect to Patty Duke. Oh, the lady with Lady Marmalade and pies. Unfucking beatable combo.
To be fair, she is pretty accomplished in her own field.
Who?
Patty Duke.
Oh, yeah?
Because remember, we did rattle off all them Oscars.
Yeah,
and
that's
Golden
true.
Globes and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But Patti LaBelle's awesome. I know that you're a big fan.
Well, I know, but I'm one of the things that's just so magnanimous about me, I think, is I'm a good sport. So,
Yeah.
I know where
those
it's going.
spacesuits are so awesome.
mean-
Oh, no, I don't disagree that Patti LaBelle is awesome.
God, they look cool as
the
shit.
helmet.
They look so cool.
Jesus.
Yeah, she is
Christ.
dressed like Ace
Shiny.
Frehley.
Yeah, they all look amazing.
We'll put some pictures up on our Twitter. We're at the Goods Pod. Just look upon the group LaBelle and behold their immaculate silver space
I mean, it's
suits.
funny because it's like there is a sort of thing. Like I put Grace in there so I could just have a total like as one of the names because I wanted to just have an opportunity to like even further extol how awesome
Yeah,
Grace Jones is.
Absolutely.
But like LaBelle is dressed like Grace Jones, like some Grace Jones stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
It's like they're like all Grace Joneses.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, shit. You have to imagine like the time period and Patti LaBelle thinking, okay, I've got this group together. How do we set ourselves apart from,
And it's
say,
kinda-
like Donna Summer, Gladys Knight, like a lot of the people
Yeah,
at the
and-
time? Oh, let's just do this and set it in outer space.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of gets into that whole. Well, it kind of gets into that larger genre of Afrofuturism.
Afrofuturism,
you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
with like the whole
Parliament and-
Funkadelic thing was based around Afrofuturism. Sun Ra,
Yes.
you know, because
I didn't know they had
came
a
out-
word for that
I think they
stuff.
came out
Yeah.
around the time of like Space is the Place
Right.
as a movie. And it's just like that Afrofuturism thing is so cool. And I mean, that's a lot of the crux of what Black Panther.
Black
kind of
Panther, I was just about
alludes
to say,
is that sort of classic Afrofuturistic.
Right. While I was watching, I was thinking about that. I was like, "This." I bet George Clinton is fucking loving this
Yeah,
because
or
this
like-
is such a.
it's like a
sleek modernization of something that was started back in the mid
Or
'70s.
yeah, like
by all
it's like
these
something
artists,
that
you know?
just like when you watch, it's like the timeline music of the 60s.
Right, it would be a
70s,
bunch
you
of
know?
bullshit, and then
Yeah.
you'd see them doing
And
Lady
then-
Marmalade.
and
I'd
I'd
be like,
who are these
who the
ladies?
fuck is this? They're awesome.
These ladies rule.
And then it would switch over to fucking Don McLean.
Yeah, John Denver or something like some dork.
Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah, and it's just like these three women dressed in these like space outfits.
Yeah.
Y'all talking about like the infomercials, right?
Yeah.
Or like just the regular commercials. Yeah.
Well, that was before the internet. So I used to watch those infomercials just to watch like a minute of Skinnerd on TV. Because there was no internet then. So that was the only Skinnerd you saw on TV.
It'd be it'd be a minute.
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing of him slowly walking up to the mic to sing, and then it would immediately go to like bang a gong, get it on.
Which that's a great song.
Yeah.
Listen, you got to be awesome if you could vanquish Patti Smith. Patti Smith is like kind of in my list of just awesome badasses.
Right.
And going into this tournament, I'm like, hey, nobody could be up in that Patti Smith level. But I'll tell you what, Patti LaBelle, she vanquished Patti Smith, and I wasn't gonna, I was heartbroken a little bit, but I'm not going to argue with that. Patti LaBelle is awesome, and I'm voting for Patti LaBelle to win this whole Patti tournament.
All right then. So we have but one Patti, and she is on her own.
Greetings! So, I went to the store after I seen somebody post that Patti LaBelle pie. I love Patti LaBelle. Shout out to Patti LaBelle, honey. I went and bought the Patti LaBelle pie. Sweet potato Patti LaBelle. This is the Patti edition, honey. This is the On My Own. Why did it end this way? So I'm about to slice this pie. I think that this pie, because Patti LaBelle could cook. So I'm just thinking that buying this pie, it's hard to get in this motherfucker. Patti, what you seal this bitch with? Gorilla Glue? The shade of getting into the bitch. Okay. So, oh, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Come on, Patti. You better come out. Come on, Patti. I opened Patti up. Okay, so look. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. On my own. Why did it end this way? Come on, Patti. So let's taste the Patti. I'm gonna taste Patti. Ooh, Patty's so moist. Come on, Patti. Patti. Here we go. Patti. Patti! Whoa! Yeah! Patti. Patti! Whoa! Yeah! Go to Walmart and buy the Patti LaBelle pie. Patti, bitch, you are my friend. I never knew until then, but I know now.
Oh, well, that is our our show for the week.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm happy with both. If you didn't get a chance to listen to last week's episode, we ran down the Billies, and I'm very satisfied with our number one Billy and our number one Patti.
Our Billies and Patties, we have such cute child type names.
Yeah,
when we do
absolutely.
But it's so funny because they're cute childlike names, but the people that carry those names, bad to the bone.
Bad to the bone. Absolutely. No question.
So Billy Graham, superstar.
Yeah.
Billy Graham, superstar.
He's on the top of the world.
Don't get it twisted.
Looking down at creation.
Yeah. And Patti LaBelle.
That's not a bad combination.
Yeah.
I just realized I referenced the wrong Carpenters song.
Yeah, as an intergender tag team, they could lay a lot of carnage.
Oh God,
that's true.
Yeah,
actually.
And I'd imagine Patti LaBelle also has a $300 butterfly.
Hell, man, they could share fashion tips.
Yeah.
For sure. That's our show for the week. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TheGoodsPod, and we're on Twitter @TheGoodsPod, Spotify, all of the music from all the shows. We make a playlist every week and we pop it on there, and so you can check out all of our bumper music and stuff like that.
A lot of Patti LaBelle this week.
Yeah, so we're @TheGoodsPod on that. Pretty much @TheGoodsPod on everything. Every episode ever. YouTube.com. We post clips all the time, and we have a lot of fun on social media. So be sure to hit us up. Pat, what should the folks do when they get to
They
iTunes?
should rate, review, subscribe, and if you do that, you will you tell a friend. It shows one thing, but if you do review 5 stars and you give us a screenshot, either you post it on Twitter or send it to us at thegoodspod.
Our DMs are open, baby. Slide into our DMs with that recommendation.
You will get prizes.
Yeah.
That will smell like Tim McGraw cologne.
We'll send you a sticker and a button that smells like Tim McGraw.
And it will be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if y'all don't have the attitude of gratitude, then voulez-vous boucher what's les suave.
Song of the week this week, as we mentioned, The Tale of David Grundman and the Saguaro Cactus. This is the Austin Lounge Lizards with Saguaro. And we'll see you next week.
The daylight was a-slipping through the mountains to the east. He grabbed his guns and he mounted up. He was off, to say the least. He drove along in silence. A chill was in the air. The monsters had to be cut down, or they'd soon be everywhere. Saguaro, a menace to the west. His name was David Grundman, a noxious little twerp. Saw the giant plants as the Clanton gang and himself as Wyatt Earp. So he drove out to the desert they wouldn't come to town. And in Maricopa County, he vowed to shoot them down. Saguaro, a menace to the west. Well, they strode up to the first one, not the largest of the lot. With a lightning move, a sidestep, and killed him with one shot. And when the smoke had cleared, the cactus had lost that final round. 200 years of nature's work lay splattered on the ground. Hey ho! He crossed a small arroyo, oh, the sun was in his eyes. He was looking for the leader, he'd know him by his size. When all at once upon a ridge the squinting gunman saw 27 feet of succulent challenging his draw. Saguaro, a menace to the west. But he was slightly disadvantaged by the angle of the sun. But after all, the cactus wasn't packing any gun. His finger twitched, he made his move, he drew, his guns did bark, and echoed with the laughter as the bullets hit their mark. Well, the giant cactus trembled, then came that warning sound. The mighty arm of justice came hurling toward the ground, and the gunman staggered backwards. He whimpered and he cried, the saguaro crushed him like a bug, and David Grunman died. Saguaro,
David Grunman,
a menace to the west.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.